Welcome to our Citizens Crime Watch podcast. I am your host, Joe Bermudez. And yes, I look a little bit weird. We look a little bit weird this time. We usually are in studio, but we're trying something different this time, trying something a little new. We are honored to have our guest this month, and it's Paul DelPonte. He is the Executive Director for NCPC, that's the National Crime Prevention Council. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Great to be with you.
So as I was telling you a little earlier, you're kind of our little guinea pig. We're trying this something new here, a little Zoom podcast action. I tried to get that trip to Washington. I put it out there, and they laughed. They said, "No, just do Zoom." I'm like, "Geez, there goes my little mini vacation." I'm gonna try to do a little work and
maybe next time. Maybe next time. We'd love to have you anytime.
Or we'll try to get you down here, like you said, try to get you down here in Miami. But maybe during the summer when it's a little bit nicer and weather-wise and stuff like that. But anyways, thank you for being here. Very privileged to have you. You're a wealth of knowledge, I know, in the field of crime prevention and NCPC. I mean, they've been around for a very long time. We'll get to that in a second. But again, thanks for being here and thanks for sharing your busy day, because I know you're a busy man. I see you all over the place doing stuff. So
we like to stay busy. That's
exactly
that's the secret of it, and it's the importance, because criminals don't rest.
100%. Yeah, they're not taking a break. So we gotta work a little overtime to make sure that we're one step ahead of them. That's what
we have the advantage of McGruff being animated, so
that's it. Yeah,
he
can do a lot more than we can, right?
He doesn't need sleep.
That's it. So before we get started, as I said, I've known you for a little bit, the worlds that we run in crime prevention, stuff like that. But I always like to give my guests a little bit of time to introduce themselves, give a little background on how you got to where you're at today here at National Crime Prevention Council.
Sure. So I spent the bulk of my career in public affairs, public education, developing programs to educate the public on a host of other topics. And then along the way, I ended up working for an organization that I quickly discovered was corrupt. They were taking government money, misusing the funds. And I came forward as a whistleblower. And much to my surprise, when I came forward, they were involving federal contracts, running a job training program for older Americans and veterans. And they were skimming money off. They were actually in the process of creating a scam company to skim even more money. And I came forward, and when I went forward as a whistleblower to the feds, after waiting a couple months, I was contacted by an investigator, and they opened up a RICO investigation. And the investigator asked me if I would be comfortable staying on and being his eyes and ears inside the organization and helping with the investigation. And I said yes. It was an interesting experience that I would wish on anyone that they never have it, but certainly my last one, my one and only. But what I did at the end was it gave me a lot of satisfaction to take a bite out of crime. And then shortly thereafter that,
we've heard that somewhere.
This position opened up, and I looked at it and I said they were really looking for someone with a background in developing public education programs, which is the bulk of what we do. And then I said, okay, well, maybe I can put my other my other skills to use here too. And so here I am.
Awesome. Well, first of all, from one veteran, thank you very much for doing that. I appreciate you looking out for us. And my brothers out there that serve. So I appreciate you coming forward and exposing that.
Thank you. It was the right thing to do. Not an easy thing to do, but it was the right thing to do.
Well, thank you. We truly appreciate that. So I want to jump in a little bit before we get into some of the stuff that you guys do. Maybe tell us, because obviously I've been in crime prevention now for over 20 some odd years. Starting to lose track here, but I know very well what NCPC is, National Crime Prevention Council. I know my boy McGruff. I go back; he's one of my favorite dogs. But could you tell the viewers a little bit about what exactly the National Crime Prevention Council is, or what you guys do?
Sure, sure. So the National Crime Prevention Council was started over 40 years ago to run the National Crime Prevention campaign featuring McGruff the Crime Dog, who burst onto the scenes in first in print and billboards in the late 70s, and then in 80, 81, he started popping up on your TV screens. And it's interesting because I get asked a lot of questions about our origins. McGruff actually predated NCPC by a year or so, McGruff itself and the ad campaign was the creation of the Department of Justice and the Ad Council. And then they realized it was growing bigger and bigger by leaps and bounds because of the public interest in it. And so the concept was to create an organization to not only help run the campaign, but to mobilize the interest that was out there in crime prevention. And that's what NCPC does. We empower everyone to take a bite out of crime because it really is citizen involvement and citizen engagement. And if you look at the whole history of crime, crime waves, crime syndicates, policing is vital, but the public support is critical. Police can't do their job without public support. They can't solve crimes without tips from the public. Unless the public is engaged, criminals will look for any opportunity to commit a wrongdoing and take advantage of people. Sadly, that's part of human nature. We know that, and so we have to constantly be vigilant and on the guard and prevent it. We like to say we try to stop crime before it happens.
That, yeah, 100%. And I totally agree with that statement. That the community needs to be involved. It's police can't do it by themselves. And I was in law enforcement for 30 years, and crime prevention is my love. Community policing is my love. But you
And
have
that's
to
one
meld the
reason
two.
we love what you guys are doing, because that really is it. It is community involvement. It's community
Yeah,
engagement at the
you need the
very
you need
heart
the
of your
support.
mission.
Yeah, you need the support of the community. You need that involvement. I mean, our model here at Citizens Crime Watch is the eyes and ears of the community, and it is. It's got to be a partnership, and that's one of the things that we've always pushed them. It's got to be a partnership between the community and law enforcement to keep our community safe. Because I have you'll hear my little tag at the end. Crime prevention starts with you, and it does. It starts with each and every one of
Absolutely.
us. My favorite words that they laugh at, awareness. You got to have awareness. You got to know what's going on around you, because the bad guy is always watching.
And that's what it's all about. That's what McGruff is about. I like to tell people, he's not a superhero wearing a cape. He's a talking dog in a trench coat who's asking for you to get involved. He's not going to, because that's really what it takes. It is the citizen involvement. It is being part of a crime watch. It is, the very simple steps, making sure your door's locked and your lights are on. It's the little things that matter. And then when you talk about, and we'll probably get into some of the bigger sort of transnational crime networks that are out there, but it's the same thing. When they know somebody's watching them, they get nervous and they stop doing what they're doing.
Right, exactly. We talk. That's one of the things with Crime Prevention 101. We talk about that. It's bad guy doesn't want to be seen. So when you call attention to them, or you look, you shine a light. You have lights. You have this, all this natural surveillance. All these terms we can throw out there. In the end, is being aware and seeing what's going on, and telling that bad guy, hey, I see what you're doing. So make them go somewhere else or do something else. So, but awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So let's I want to take a moment and talk about I know you guys have some really strong campaigns that you're working on, or that you've been working on. Some of the current ones that you're doing right now.
Sure.
I know that we have the Go for Real, you have the fentanyl fight. If you could tell us a little bit about those big campaigns you have.
Sure. So
our
Go
viewers
for
know.
Real is an effort that we're doing in conjunction with the United States Patent and Trademark Office. And you might, if you're listening to this, say, oh, okay, National Crime Prevention Council and patent and trademarks, that sounds like an odd combination. But you have to look at the types of crimes, and we talked about transnational crime in those crime syndicates. It takes money to operate a criminal syndicate. How do they get their money? Well, we're familiar with movies and Al Capone and bootlegging, so prohibition and running rackets. We see that in movies, and it makes for good drama in a film. And that's how a lot of crooks and criminal syndicates used to make their money. Today, they're making their money by selling counterfeit merchandise.
Yeah.
And it's not just a little bit, it's $2 trillion a year.
Wow.
That is bigger than the gross domestic products of some countries.
Yeah.
And why is that bad? They're not just, part of it is they are making money from it, and they're living a lavish lifestyle. But because of the nature of crime today in criminal syndicates, which are increasingly global, they are run like corporations. They are set up to make profits, to reinvest those profits into other criminal activities like gang violence, child trafficking, sex trafficking, drugs, even
Oh,
terrorism.
yeah, it all circles back.
It all circles back. So
it's
part of
buying
this
that one fake
campaign,
thing. You think you're just buying something fake, but all that money's circling
right?
back, and it's funding
The
other
average consumer
things.
thinks, I can't afford that designer purse, so I'm going to save a little bit of money. Yeah, I might know it's a knockoff, but no one else will know. And we have to change that attitude. And so the campaign is Go for Real, and the tagline is You're smart, buy smart. So we're educating consumers, and we're starting with teens and tweens because marketing experts tell us that's when you develop your buying habits.
Right.
So if we can get a new generation to believe in investing in real products because of health, safety, and public concerns, that would be a good thing, and that they'll carry that over with them through the course of their lives. And we're also getting some adults along the way to go along with us. And so that's a big effort. And that really has dovetailed into a lot of our work on fentanyl. And I came on board about 3 years ago when fentanyl was just starting to break into the headlines. Most people didn't know what it was then, and the impacts of it. And in those 3 years, it has quickly risen to become one of the leading cause of deaths for young people. And it's serious. And you have to ask yourself, how could that happen in just 3 years? Something that most people never heard of, to being a number one
It's
killer of
skyrocketing.
kids. And when we started going into the reasons for it, what we discovered is that those criminal syndicates we were just talking about have opened up a very lucrative business line in the sale of fake drugs. They're taking popular prescription names like Xanax, Adderall, Oxycodone, and they are mixing powders, chemicals, and the active ingredient is not any of the real active ingredients that's in any of those medications, but they're using fentanyl. The reason they're using fentanyl is because it's highly addictive. And if you think you're buying a Xanax from someone and you're like, wow, I had Xanax before, but it never worked that well, it's not the Xanax. It goes into the whole point around the fakery of it, that they're using an opioid to addict you. So you're not getting any better. You're not improving your mental health, but you are getting addicted. So next time you need to go buy a Xanax, you're not even going to bother going to the doctor and getting a prescription. You're going to buy it from that dealer. And that's how they're going to get repeat customers. In addition to it being highly addictive, it can also be highly lethal in the wrong amounts.
Yeah.
And just 3 milligrams can be lethal. And that's what's happening. You have a lot of teenagers who are having regular teenage problems. Boyfriend, girlfriend breakup, bad test scores, something going on, a fight with their parents. Very typical common things. They talk to a friend. The friend says, oh, you should take something. What do you mean take something? Well, like a Xanax or a sleeping pill. Well, I don't have a prescription. I can't get that. Oh, no, you can get it online. Just go on Snapchat, go on Instagram. You can get it. And sure enough, the kid picks up their phone. Within a couple minutes, you do the right searches, you find it. And not only do you find it, the social media companies, we believe, are culpable in the crime. They are creating algorithms that entice and send the teenager. In fact, a recent article in the Wall Street Journal showed that there were actually paid ads popping up on Instagram and other meta platforms for the sale of drugs, including cocaine, fentanyl, and other opioids. And that because these companies, the social media, the whole basis of how they make money through advertising is that they sell to their advertisers, if you advertise with us, we're going to guarantee you that your ads are going to reach the people who want to buy your product.
Right.
So, whether it's soap or whether it's illegal drugs, they've created a system that is so large, they themselves can't control it. And that's a problem, because when you ask yourself, how could this happen so quickly? It's because the drug syndicates have figured out how to use our modern technology in supply chains. And so it doesn't matter where the criminal is. Criminal could be up the street. If they're up the street, they call an Uber, and it's, kids on the phone, they get it at their doorstep, as easy as ordering fast food. If they're in Mexico, if they're in Africa, if they're in Asia, they pop it in a FedEx envelope and it's there 36 hours later.
It's crazy.
And that's how it's happening so quickly. And we got to put a stop to it. So we have a very aggressive campaign. We're working with every government agency in the US to figure out new ways to do it. We've asked the Attorney General to investigate the business practices of social media companies. And we know the FBI is on their tail. So if Snapchat and Meta are listening, watch out. We believe, NCPC believes that these companies have the power and the ability to make their platforms drug-free zones. And they need to do that. If they won't do it on their own, we're going to make the government force them to do it. And the other thing we're doing is we've got McGruff out there. We've got a new public service announcement. If you go to McGruffPSA.org, you'll get to see it. But in it, McGruff in 3D animation is on to the ring, and he intercepts a package before it arrives in a kid's mailbox. And he has, at the end of the ad, he has a one-on-one talk with the teenager. And so it's a very powerful ad. It is getting tremendous airtime across the country. We estimate that it's on the air somewhere in the country about once every minute. So people are seeing it. Yesterday, we got a little glimmer of good news. We're seeing teenage deaths, according to the CDC, from opioids and fentanyl dropping a little bit. And CDC told us they do attribute that to the increase in public attention. So we're going to keep that up. We have educational materials, curriculums that teachers can use in schools. One of the questions I get asked a lot is from parents is, at what age should I start talking to my kids? And my answer to that is, if you're asking yourself that question, talk to them today. It's time.
If you're asking that question, it's too late. You should be already.
You do it today.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can do it, in an age appropriate way. And the part of the problem is kids are trusting. They think, okay, I can order a hamburger and fries on social media. Why can't I order a pill? And as parents, they can understand that. Kids go to the doctor, the pediatrician, from the moment they're born, and they go to, most kids will have an annual checkup, or they certainly understand, even at a fairly young age, that the way you get a prescription drug is there. You need to talk to your parents, you need to talk to a doctor, and don't trust anything else.
Well, we live in that age now. I always say technology is our friend, but it's also our enemy. We live in that age now where you see people self-diagnosing themselves because they're all WebMD doctors, so they go on there and they I'm feeling this way, or this is going on with me. What can I do? And like you said, they see an article, they see something that says, oh, take this kind of drug, and instead of going through their primary care physician or somebody like that, they do what you say. They start searching out for it, and
And
it's
it's easy
readily
to find.
accessible. It's readily accessible, and you get it out there, and the biggest thing is it's not controlled, as you said. It's laced, it's cut, it's however you want to describe it. And not only is it like you said, addictive, but it's dangerous. You never know who's putting this together, and that one pill that you may be thinking to take to make you feel a little bit better may be the one that ends it all. So
Exactly.
it's a dangerous time, and we need to be a little bit more conscious of that. The parents, touching back on what you talked about, parents wanting to talk to their kids. There's so many resources out there. Law enforcement, organizations like us, organizations like you. We have materials that will help parents on how to talk to kids. How do you talk to
Absolutely.
kids about drugs? Just all you gotta do is look for it. It's out there. And we've tried to make it really easy for you to get the information and to educate our kids. Because nowadays, I mean, it's funny, we do our little presentations in schools. We have our programs in the schools, and you got these little kids, 5, 6 years old, 7 years old, and they know everything. They're asking you questions about drugs, about guns, about this,
You
violence,
know,
shootings. It's
I'll
incredible.
share, and to let you know how it could happen to anyone, I'll share a story. And I spent a fair amount of time talking to parent groups who've lost a child. So I was talking to a group in California, and a gentleman raises his hand and says, "First of all, thanks for everything you're doing on this. But I'm here to tell you need to do more. Everyone needs to do more. I want to tell you about my background. I'm a retired police officer after 20 years on the force. I ran the crime prevention unit. I wore the McGruff suit. I went to schools educating kids about the dangers of drugs. My son was on the varsity football team in high school. He injured himself right before one of the big games. He didn't want to miss the big game. He didn't come talk to me. He went online. He bought what he thought was OxyContin, took it. Next morning, we found him dead in his room.
Oh my God.
And, he was a good kid, star athlete, good student. All he wanted to do was play in that game.
That's hard.
And so it can happen to anyone. And you
Yeah,
got to be aware
you
of it.
can't have those blinders on. You can't have the
You
blinders on and
can't. You've got to
say
be aware of the world in which we live. And
100%.
as sad as that is, I will also tell you, his dad, John, like many other parents, they are probably the silver lining in this cloud. They are active. They are doing exactly what we want them to do. They're out there speaking publicly. They're warning other parents. They're talking to their senators and congressmen. They are making noise. They are making it uncomfortable for the social media companies to keep turning a blind eye to the problem. And they are doing, they've listened to McGruff. They grew up with McGruff, and they've eagerly said, we want to help you take a bite out of this crime. And that, it is that kind of citizen engagement and activism that will do that. They have an active group in Florida. There are parent groups popping up all over the country on this issue.
Wow.
And we encourage them, we support them. As I said, anyone questions what you're doing, you tell them McGruff sent you.
That's it. Well, I mean, that's a tragic story, and I feel for him. My thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family. But at least he's taking a tragedy and trying to turn it into a triumph, I guess,
Absolutely.
in that fight against crime. So, but before we move on to something else, I wanted to also backtrack a little bit. When we were talking about the go for real, because obviously we talked about the whole financial part of it, how it turns stuff out. But I wanted to touch on something too, I guess, and I know you guys have some PSAs for it as well, but the safety aspect of it with some of these fake products,
Right.
where we've seen instances where electronics and stuff like that blow up, catch fire, and stuff like that, and you have serious injuries because again, there's no regulation. You don't know who the person putting this thing together takes shortcuts, and now you're using something. We've seen game controllers that explode and
Absolutely.
catch fire and stuff like that. So even that not even if you as a parent don't want to get into that world of the transnational crime and
Right. It
financing
doesn't
stuff like
have
that.
to be drugs. It
Think
doesn't,
about the
it's
safety, just
simple
the
things.
a simple thing as giving your kid an Xbox controller because you found it online for $10 instead of paying for the 39.99 one.
Absolutely.
The
And that's
safety of it.
you hit the nail on the head with that. Electronic can be particularly dangerous. But even a lot of other things, clothing, you think, okay, what can I have with clothing? Well, you don't know what's in that clothing. It can cause a skin rash.
Yeah.
Cosmetics, and this is an area where we find it very puzzling because consumers today are very conscious and aware of cosmetics. Consumers don't want to buy cosmetics that are tested on animals. Well, if you're running a fake cosmetic operation, you're not testing anything. Um, um,
That's one
in
corner you're
fact, if
cutting.
you're worried about animals, there's a good chance they're going to be animal byproducts ground up into that eyeshadow or whatever it is you're buying, and they sell it as something else. They're trying to siphon off on a legitimate company's good name and their advertising. A common one that's counterfeited is Elf Cosmetics. Well, Elf brands themselves as no animal testing, the highest standards, and all of that. So a consumer buys Elf online and they see, oh, wow, this is half the price. I'll get this one. They think they're buying the real thing, but that fake product has no FDA regulation to it. There's no oversight. It could be made in some, South Asian country using child labor.
Yep. It's crazy. And you talk about, I talked about this one on one of our previous podcasts. We were talking about frauds and stuff. And like you say, it could happen to everybody. It happened to me. I'm guilty. I always own up to it. It was holidays time. My wife was bugging me. Hey, what do you want for Christmas? And I'm like, I don't know. She kept bugging coming in, and I just happened to be scrolling through Instagram one day, and I see this little ad for this like telescopic lens you can add to your iPhone, and it zooms in and makes your camera much more powerful. And I watched the little video, and I go, hey, this is pretty cool. Only $75. So I said, that's not bad. So I send her the link. I go, hey, if you're looking for something, get me this. First of all, I didn't get it till I think it was after Easter.
Right.
It finally came. And when I get it and I open it, I go, what is this? I completely forgotten about it. I open it, I look at it, what is this? And I look at it, I go, I go, oh my God, I think this is that lens. And she did get it for me or something. I look it out. That thing was no more powerful than one of those toy binoculars that you buy for 99 cents at the dollar store.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was like the cheapest glass, the cheapest thing, and $75 down the drain. And here I am. I said, man, you got me. Some guy in China is laughing at me right now, saying, I got you. But that's why you got to be careful with all this.
You do. You do.
It happens. It happens. So but it's great. Thank you. And you know what? I'm going to be making sure we share a lot of your PSAs. We like to share a lot of the NCPC stuff on our social media site. So I'm going to go ahead and look for that new gruff video and share that
Terrific.
out there for you. Because it is
Yeah,
important.
we
You
have,
know,
one of the problems is we've got so many materials, somebody will go to our website and say, hey, I thought you did this, but I couldn't find it. Oh, no, it's there. It's just,
you
you've
got
got
to
a lot
search for it.
to search there for. But McGruff has his own YouTube series talking about the dangers of fake products. He involves lots of teens. There are, funny quiz shows with McGruff as the MC and a whole host of other
Yeah,
things.
there's a lot of great stuff.
We have a partnership with NASCAR driver Joey Gase. He's in one of the episodes. We're down in Florida a lot at Daytona with him every year, and a great event and a great way to raise public awareness.
Awesome. Awesome. And I think I saw something the other day. We're re-releasing something. I guess it was greatest hits or something. Was there something that was
So
being
back in
re-released?
the early 80s, McGruff recorded a cassette tape. The songs are a little campy and outdated, but 80s nostalgia is big.
Hey,
So,
it hits to the heart. That's what it
so
does.
we released a vinyl album, first pressing, It sold out within a few hours. So
Wow.
we're doing a second pressing. Yeah, but we're now streaming on Spotify and Apple Music too. So
Awesome. That's awesome. So go out there and listen to McGruff. He's an oldie but a goodie. So
that's
that's
exactly
awesome.
it.
Very good. Very good. So before I guess just wanted to wrap up in a bit, but before we ended up, one of the main reasons, other than NCPC is awesome and a great partner for us, and I appreciate everything that you do and the wealth of knowledge and stuff like that. But we are going into Crime Prevention Month. It's October.
Absolutely.
It's Crime Prevention Month, and I just want to see maybe thoughts. If you guys, do you have anything, guys, anything special planned for the month of October?
We sure
To
do.
share.
Each week is going to focus on a different theme. We actually had McGruff at the Capitol a couple days ago, on the steps doing photo ops with the members of Congress before they leave town, because they won't be in session in October, so we did it a little early. But so we had McGruff being very visible, like letting sure our lawmakers know that it's Crime Prevention Month. So we kick off the first week with empowerment, and awareness. So that was part of that. The second week is going to be all about what you can do in your own home to prevent crime. You know, locks, alarms, lights, all those very basic things. And with today's newer technology, those are all good things. You have smart locks, lights that automatically turn on or you can adjust. So a criminal driving by, they see a light go on and off, they're going to assume somebody's home and they're going to drive past your
Right.
house. These are all very important things. So second week is about raising awareness there. The third week is going to focus on reducing hate crimes. The FBI crime statistics came out the other day. Generally good news. Violent crime is down. Um, Overall crime rates are down, but some trouble spots, car thefts are up, hate crimes are up. Hate crimes are up a lot. And part of that is really working with the community, working with affected communities to get the word out. A lot of people don't realize that what is a hate crime and that there is such a thing as a hate crime and what builds into a hate crime. A simple argument, a
You
political
throw in a few
exchange,
extra words there, and
exchange some words, the words get heated,
yeah,
fists are thrown, a weapon is taken out, and before you know it, law enforcement's involved. So we're empowering people with the skills of how to navigate tough conversations, when to ask for help, how to stand up to bullies. Those are all things that we're going to focus on. And then week 4, we are focusing on counterfeits and international crime. And
okay.
we're going to be hosting a summit in Washington, D.C. on October 30th, bringing together government officials with corporations and community and consumer leaders to talk about the issue and how it does impact people. In addition, we could go on, but we talked about fentanyl and electronics and some of those dangerous products, airbags, fake brake pads. So when you go to have your car repaired, everybody complains about the cost of having your car repaired. There's no doubt about that. And you want to save money, so you bring it to a local repair shop. Ask the local repair shop where they're getting the parts.
Exactly.
If they're getting them online, say, no, thank you, I'll find another repair shop. There are, lots of parts suppliers at the local level that they can get parts from too. That might cost a couple dollars more, but if
Yeah,
anything
I
should
tell
scare you, the words fake brake pads should scare anybody,
that should,
should
yeah,
scare any
exactly.
driver.
But yeah, that's one of the things when I talk, um, if you do the research and you are, again, my favorite word, aware of what's out there and what's going on. You can cut dollars in cut corners in the beginning, but it's going to cost you in the long run. I talk about, when we talk about locks, you can buy a cheap lock just to have the lock, but in the end, when something happens, you're going to pay 2, 3 times
Exactly.
the price for it,
Exactly.
and then you're going to end up buying the good lock anyways.
And then, as
So might
everyone
as well.
knows, October ends with Halloween, and McGruff will be visible all across the country out there at night with police departments and other community fairs and all of
Trick or
that.
treating.
Um, to keep kids safe when they're trick-or-treating. And if you do not have a local McGruff education program, we want to help your police department create one. So we're creating something we call Adopt a Crime Dog. So if the local police department does not have a crime dog program, we will partner with a local business to set one up. And
Awesome.
partnering with a local business ensures increased community engagement, as well as a nice way to fund a department getting the McGruff suit and some educational materials.
That's awesome. And having McGruff around always makes a difference.
It does.
I got a good relationship with him. I know him. I know him pretty well.
I hear you were very close. He tells me.
Yeah, he tells us so. But awesome. So we look forward to seeing all that stuff in the upcoming month. And I promise that we'll be sharing it from our vantage point down here, sharing it with our viewers, our followers, and stuff like that.
Well, I want to take a moment to thank your viewers, your followers, your members for doing everything you do every day, because it really is about empowerment. And like I said, McGruff isn't a superhero with that cape. He needs you to take a bite out of crime.
No, 100%, 100%. Where can we go? Our viewers can go to get all these resources and stuff like that. You guys have a website?
You can go to so we have multiple websites, but ncpc.org is our main site. We have McGruff.org, which is focused on a younger crowd, but I'm also told adults like it more than the regular website.
Who doesn't feeling nostalgia.
And some new stuff. It's a mix of nostalgia along with there, and you can navigate to the McGruff shop, where if you're into nostalgia, we're sold out of the albums, but t-shirts, miniature racing cars, and all that. And for your viewers, if you use the code McGruffNation at checkout, you get a nice little discount.
Awesome. Thank you. We'll put the website down here. I call my little magic fingers. They all of a sudden stuff pops up at the bottom of our podcast.
Okay, great, great.
But I'll put that there, and I'll put it in our narrative and stuff like that.
And then we have our latest PSA. We use McGruffPSA.org, so you can always watch whatever's the latest on that. And then we also, on the fentanyl issue, as I talked about, those parents who really are the heroes and the silver lining in this, we created the livesproject.org, which is a digital remembrance quilt where they can remember anyone who suffered that loss can do a lasting tribute to the person as a way to make people aware and to urge people to act.
Awesome. Oh, very good. Well, thank you. We'll share that too. Again, Paul, thank you for taking time out of your busy day to be here. We really, truly appreciate it. You're always welcome to come by, stop in, chat, or jump back in if you have anything you want to share with us and to get out there. We are truly lucky to have you guys as a partner and for us to partner with you. So thank you again for being here.
You bet. Glad you're there.
All right. Thank you, folks. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for sticking out. Hopefully you got some great information from our podcast today and from the NCPC. Again, just we'll have it in our narrative and our websites, the websites you can visit, and that awesome discount code that Paul gave us for our viewers. But we look forward to seeing you again next month. And remember, crime prevention starts with you.
Another teenager, victim to fake pills. That smells like big crime that needs to be stopped. Before buying pills online, think about this. Should buying prescription pills be this easy?
Yeah, bro, I'm picking up. Same guy. I bet. Got you 5.
Think these pills are tested and safe? Think they're the same ones you'd get from a doctor? You know they're not. Did you know that fake prescription pills may contain fentanyl? And an amount small enough to fit on the tip of a pencil can be lethal. Listen. Before buying pills from social media, think again. Learn more at McGruffPSA.org and go for real.